I'm going to introduce the procedure for encryption Amazon EBS volumes and Amazon EFS file systems. For both EBS volumes and EFS file system, you cannot directly encrypt an existing unencrypted resources. For an EBS volume, you must first create a snapshot and encrypt it when creating the copy of the snapshot. For an EFS file system, you must configure the encryption when you create the copy of the backup. So let's go over each procedure. So first is the EBS. I am currently on the EC2 console screen, and from the Elastic Volume Store, and I will select the volumes. So and create the new volume. So clicking on the create a new volume. And since this is for hands-on, so I will set the smallest size with 1 GB and leave everything else default. And when I get to the encryption settings, I'm gonna leave the box unchecked to create an unencrypted EBS volume. So I will click on the create the volume. So the volume should be created quickly. So now we cannot encrypt this existing unencrypted EBS volume directly. So from the action, we will create the snapshot. For clarity, I'll name it the non-encrypted snapshot and create the snapshot. So let's go to the snapshot page and update to the snapshot status is going to the completed. So okay, after a few seconds, the snapshot status is completed. So now select this non-encrypted snapshot, and from the action, clicking on the copy snapshot. And for the description, I'll name this one the encrypted snapshot, and scrolling down, and you will see the encrypt this snapshot. So I'll check the box to encrypt the snapshot, and use the default KMS key. And this is how you enable the encryption, by creating the snapshot and then encrypt the copy of it, and I'll copy the snapshot. Click on the copy snapshot. So this is pending status, and quickly it becomes completed. So now select this encrypted snapshot, and from the action select, creates the volume from the snapshot. Now I leave the settings as default, and you can see the encryption is set. Then you also notice that the encryption option is grayed out. When creating a volume from the snapshot, you cannot change its encryption state. And finally, I create the volume. So this is the procedure for the encrypting the previously unencrypted EBS volume. So now let's do the same for the EFS file system. Now I will go to the EFS page, and we're gonna create the new file system. And if you use the default settings, as you see, the encryption is enabled by default. So we will click on the customize to create one from the scratch. To create the unencrypted file, I'll give it the names like non-encrypted EFS, and I will use the one zone for this hands-on, and I will uncheck the enabled automatic encryption of the data address. Okay, and click on the next. Now I leave the network settings as a default, and click on the next, again next, and clicking on the create. So let's wait for it to be created. So now the EFS file system is the available state, And similar to the EBS volume, you cannot directly encrypt this existing unencrypted EFS file. So therefore, we must create the backup using the AWS backups. So going to the AWS backups console. So there are several ways to back it up, but this time we're going to create the on-demand backup. This is manual backup, and click on. And for the resource type, I'm going to choose the EFS, and I'm going to choose the EFS file. Then I'm going to select the create backup now, and scrolling down to the click on the create on-demand backup. So let's wait for the backup to complete. So after about 30 seconds to a minute, the backup status is now completed. Since the EFS file system was empty, the backup finished very quickly. So backup content is stored in the backup vault from the left menu bar. I will select the backup vault, and we use the default vault, so clicking on the default, I select that. The inside, we see our EFS, click on. So now we'll select the backup and clicking on the restore from the action. And we will restore it as the new file system. So clicking on the restore to the new file system. And I'm going to choose again the one zone. And further down, there is an option that enable the encryption. I will check this box and use the default KMS key. Okay, this is the procedure. You restore an unencrypted EFS backup that enable the encryption during the restore and create a new encrypted EFS file system. So I will click on the restore the backup. And after about a minute, the restore status is now completed. And if we go back to the EFS file system page, we can see that new encrypted file system has been created from our unencrypted, non-encrypted EFS backup. So this concludes the procedure for encrypting the existing unencrypted Amazon EBS volumes and EFS file system. So finally, to cleaning up, you can delete the EFS file system we created from here. And for EBS, you must first delete the snapshot from the snapshot page, and you can delete the EBS volume. And finally, for the AWS backup, you must go to the vault page and clicking on the default and delete the recovery point from there. So this concludes the explanation.